Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Headdress that protects the head from bad weather, has shaped crown and usually a brim. An informal term for a person's role. He took off his politician's hat and talked frankly. Furnish with a hat. Put on or wear a hat. He was unsuitably hatted. Headdress that protects the head from bad weather, has shaped crown and usually a brim. Headdress that protects the head from bad weather, has shaped crown and usually a brim. Either of two folds of skin that can be moved to cover or open the eye. His lids would stay open no longer. A movable top or cover, hinged or separate, for closing the opening at the top of a box, chest, jar, pan, etc. He raised the piano lid. Clothing for the head. Clothing for the head. Stable gear consisting of any part of a harness that fits about the horse's head. The hoist at the pithead of a mine. The effort contributed by a person in bringing about a result. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The government must do its part. To some extent, in some degree, not wholly. I felt partly to blame. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. A portion of a natural object. They analyzed the river into 3 parts. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The rear part of the house. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The written part of the exam. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The business partners broke over a tax question. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. He tried to sing the tenor part. Force, take, or pull apart. Moses parted the Red Sea. An item that is an instance of some type. My dog swallowed a Lego part. A line of scalp that can be seen when sections of hair are combed in opposite directions. His part was right in the middle. Leave. The extended spatial location of something. Religions in all parts of the world. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. He wanted to feel a part of something bigger than himself. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. She played the part of Desdemona. Come apart. That which concerns a person with regard to a particular role or situation. It requires vigilance on our part. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The function of a teacher. Perform as expected when applied. Mathematics. A mathematical relation such that each element of a given set, the domain of the function, is associated with an element of another set, the range of the function. A vaguely specified social event. A seemingly endless round of social functions. Serve a purpose, role, or function. The table functions as a desk. What something is used for. The function of an auger is to bore holes. A set sequence of steps, part of larger computer program. Perform duties attached to a particular office or place or function. A formal or official social gathering or ceremony. It was a black tie function. A relation such that one thing is dependent on another. Height as a function of age. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. Play its role. What something is used for. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. Normal or customary activity of a person in a particular social setting. What is your role on the team? A job in an organization. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. Professional or clerical workers in an office. The whole office was late the morning of the blizzard. Of a government or government official, holding an office means being in power. Being in office already gives a candidate a great advantage. Place of business where professional or clerical duties are performed. He rented an office in the new building. An administrative unit of government. A religious rite or service prescribed by ecclesiastical authorities. The offices of the Mass. Give something useful or necessary to. We provided the room with an electrical heater. Supply means of subsistence. Earn a living. He provides for his large family by working 3 jobs. Mount or put up. Give what is desired or needed, especially support, food or sustenance. The hostess provided lunch for all the guests. Make a possibility or provide opportunity for, permit to be attainable or cause to remain. This procedure provides for lots of leeway. Determine what is to happen in certain contingencies, especially by including a proviso condition or stipulation. The will provides that each child should receive half of the money. Take measures in preparation for. Provide for the proper care of the passengers on the cruise ship. Give something useful or necessary to. Provide or equip with furniture. We furnished the house in the Biedermeier style. Give something useful or necessary to. Melt, fat or lard, in order to separate out impurities. Render fat in a casserole. Give an interpretation or rendition of. The pianist rendered the Beethoven sonata beautifully. Bestow. Render thanks. To surrender someone or something to another. Render up the prisoners. Give or supply. The estate renders some revenue for the family. Pass down. Render a verdict. Show in, or as in, a picture. The face of the child is rendered with much tenderness in this painting. Restate. Words, from one language into another language. She rendered the French poem into English. Give back. Render money. Make over as a return. They had to render the estate. A substance similar to stucco but exclusively applied to masonry walls. Cause to become. The shot rendered her immobile. Coat with plastic or cement. Render the brick walls in the den. Circulate or distribute or equip with. Supply blankets for the beds. Give something useful or necessary to. State or say further. Give what is desired or needed, especially support, food or sustenance. The activity of supplying or providing something. An amount of something available for use. Offering goods and services for sale. To come or go into. Put clothing on one's body. Secure a place in a college, university, etc. Get involved in or with. Familiarize oneself thoroughly with. Fool or hoax. Adopted in order to deceive. Put clothing on one's body. He put on his best suit for the wedding. Apply to a surface. Carry out performances. Increase one's body weight. Prepare and supply with the necessary equipment for execution or performance. Add to something existing. She put on a sunroom. Add to the odometer. He put on 1,000 miles on this trip. Put on the stove or ready for cooking. Put on the tea, please. Exhaust or get tired through overuse or great strain or stress. Be dressed in. She was wearing yellow that day. The act of having on your person as a covering or adornment. She bought it for everyday wear. Have on one's person. Go to pieces. Put clothing on one's body. What should I wear today? A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. Deteriorate through use or stress. Last and be usable. Have in one's aspect. Wear an expression of one's attitude or personality. He always wears a smile. Have or show an appearance of. Wear one's hair in a certain way. Impairment resulting from long use. The tires showed uneven wear. The head of an organized crime family. Teacher at a university or college, especially at Cambridge or Oxford. Put clothing on one's body. The princess donned a long blue dress. A European river in southwestern Russia flows into the Sea of Azov. A Spanish courtesy title or form of address for men that is prefixed to the forename. A Spanish gentleman or nobleman. Celtic goddess. Mother of Gwydion and Arianrhod, corresponds to Irish Danu. Make a pretense of. She assumed indifference, even though she was seething with anger. Put clothing on one's body. The queen assumed the stately robes. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force. Take as one's right or possession. He assumed to himself the right to fill all positions in the town. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. She assumed strange manners. Take on titles, offices, duties, responsibilities. When will the new president assume office? Occupy or take on. He assumes the lotus position. Take to be the case or to be true, except without verification or proof. I assume his train was late. Take up someone's soul into heaven. This is the day when Mary was assumed into heaven. A hat with a wide brim and a soft crown, worn by American ranch hands. A tight-fitting hat with visors front and back, formerly worn by hunters. A felt hat that is round and hard with a narrow brim. A felt hat that is round and hard with a narrow brim. A man's hat with a tall crown, usually covered with silk or with beaver fur. A cone-shaped paper hat formerly placed on the head of slow or lazy pupils. Tall hat, worn by some British soldiers on ceremonial occasions. The pelt of a bear, sometimes used as a rug. A hat made of felt with a creased crown. A hat made of felt with a creased crown. A cone-shaped paper hat formerly placed on the head of slow or lazy pupils. A hat made of fur. A man's hat with a tall crown, usually covered with silk or with beaver fur. Cymbals that are operated by a foot pedal. A hat made of felt with a creased crown.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.